set of notes was all about factoring cubics, which meant it had an exponent of 3, right? On this set of notes, we're going to be talking about factoring quartics, which means it has an exponent of 4, okay? So first, they give us a little warm-up question here. They want us to factor first x squared plus 7x plus 12. That's the old stuff that we've been doing for quite some time. So whenever we're factoring something like this, we always look for a what first? GCF. Does this one have a GCF? No. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make my 2 parentheses. And whatever I put here and here has to multiply to give us the first term x squared, right? So what am I going to put in each one? X and x. Very good. Okay? And then when I'm deciding what to put here and here, it has to multiply to give me the 12 and add to give me the 7, right? What did we say? 4 and 3. Good. And we would need them to have what kind of signs? Very good. Alright, and that's it, right? That's all there is to factoring those. Okay? They want us to compare that to this function. If you notice, it's all the same numbers, they just changed the exponents, right? Okay, so no GCF still, right? It's the same numbers. I'm going to go ahead and make my 2 sets of parentheses. Whatever I put here and here still comes from my first term. So here we put x and x because x times x was x squared. So when I'm deciding what to put here and here, what multiplies to give me x to the 4th?
X squared.
X squared and x squared. Very good. So I'm going to put x squared at the front of each parenthesis. Okay? So we've got x squared at the front of each parenthesis. When I'm deciding what to put here and here, it has to multiply to give me this number and add to give me this number. So what would that be for us? Still the same ones, right? Okay? And what would I want their signs to be? Positives. Okay, so you actually factor these the exact same way we factor our old ones. The only difference is you got to be thinking about what goes here and here to make sure it will give you x to the 4th. Okay? All right, so let's look at a couple more examples. Okay, example 1, any GCF here? Okay, so I make my 2 sets of parentheses. What am I going to put in each one? X squared, good. Okay, and then I'm looking for something to put here and here that will multiply to give me negative 14 and add to give me negative 5. So what would multiply to give me 14? 7 and 2, right? One of them has to be negative because it's negative 14, so we want the 7. Very good. All right. Okay. Then we look at this example. Any GCF? No. So 2 parentheses. What am I putting at the front of each? Good. And what will multiply to give us 16, add to give us negative 10? What multiplies to give us 16? There we go. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. Negative 8 plus negative 2 does give me negative 10. Okay. All right, number 3. And what am I going to look for first? All right, and do we have one? Okay, so 2 sets of parentheses. What am I putting at the front of each? Very good. And remember, it's supposed to multiply to give me this number and add to give me the middle number. But is there a middle number? No. So the middle number must be what if it's not there? 0. So it needs to add, multiply to give me negative 16, add to give me 0. Right, positive 4 and negative 4. Okay. One more difference about factoring these as opposed to something that's a factor of 2 is that when you get to this point, this actually looks like what we would have factored originally, right? Because it just has an exponent of 2. If you end up with a factor that has a minus in it, you need to double check to see if it will factor further, okay? So, I'm going to cover this one up. What would I put here and here to give me x squared? What do I put here and here to give me x squared? X and x. Okay. And then when I'm deciding what to put here and here, it has to multiply to give me this number, add to give me the middle number, but there is no middle number, so it must be 0. What would it have to be? Very good. So this actually factored one step further into these two factors. This one is not going to factor because there's nothing that will multiply to give you a positive number and add to give you 0. Because if it gives you a positive, it's either 2 negatives or 2 positives, right? Which can't add to give you 0. So this one would just come down exactly as it is. Sometimes it won't factor further. Like here, is there anything that multiplies to give you -8 and adds to give you 0? No, because the only things that multiply to give you 8 are 2 and 4 and 1 and 8, right? Same with the 2. Nothing's going to work, right? So it won't always factor further. We're just going to always check to see if we can make it factor any further. All right, number 4. No GCF, so I make my 2 parentheses here. What am I going to put in the front of each one? X squared, very good. And what will multiply to give us +7, add to give us -8? Very good. So -7 and -1. Okay, these are both a minus, so I'm going to check to see if they factor further. Is there anything that multiplies to give me -7 and adds to give me 0? No, because the only thing that multiplies to give me 7 is 1 and 7. No way that's going to give me 0. Is there anything that will multiply to give me -1 and add to give me 0?
Positive 1 and -1.
Right, so I can factor this one step further. So I put my x in x, and my +1, and my -1. This one, since it didn't change, I bring it down exactly as it's written. And these would be my factors. Okay. All right, let's look at number 5 here. Any GCF? Okay, so I make my 2 parentheses and we put what at the front of each. Okay, and what multiplies to give me -20 and adds to give me 8? Very good. So this one does have a minus, but is there anything that multiplies to give me 2 and adds to give me 0? No. All right. 2 and 1 would be it, and there's no way to get 0. So this is it. This is as far as we can see. Okay. Number 6, any GCF? Okay, so I make my 2 sets of parentheses. We put in our x squareds. And what's going to multiply to give us 12 and add to give us -7? Very good. Okay, anything that will multiply to give me 3, add to give me 0? No. So I'm going to bring that one down exactly as it is. Anything that will multiply to give me -4 and add to give me 0? Yes, what? And -2. Very good. So I'm going to factor that into x plus 2 and x minus 2. All right. Number 7. Okay, any GCF? Okay, so I make my parentheses. What am I going to put in the front of each? Very good. And we're looking for something that multiplies to give us +4, adds to give you -5. Very good. Okay. Can we factor x squared minus 4 any further?
Yes.
Yes, right, we've already done it once, right? So we've got, what? What are my factors?
Plus 2 minus 2.
Right, x plus 2 and x minus 2. All right, what about negative 1? Is there anything that multiplies to give me negative 1 and adds to give me 0?
Plus 1 minus 1.
Very good. So this one also splits into another set of factors. Very good. All right. Number 8, any GCF there? Okay, so I make my two sets of parentheses. We got our x squared and x squared. There's no middle number, so it must be 0, right? What multiplies to give us negative 1 and adds to give us 0?
So number 7, can you bring the x3?
Oh, sorry, this should be a 2.
Can we bring that down? Or no?
Bring what down?
x3 minus 4?
x2 minus 4.
For the top one?
X2. No, we factored it into x plus 2 and x minus 2. All right, right here. So what multiplies to give us negative 1 and adds to give us 0? What multiplies to give us negative 1? Negative 1 and positive 1. Good. All right, this one, it can't factor because it has a plus in it. So I'm going to bring down x squared plus 1. But x squared minus 1 should factor into what? Very good. All right, last one. What do we always look for first? Does this one have 1? Yes. What will go into 2, negative 6, and 4? 2. Very good. So I take out a 2. All right. If I take 2 out of 4x to the 4th, what's left? 2x to the 4th. Very good. And if I take 2 out of negative 6x squared, what's left? Very good. And what is 2 divided by 2? 1. Plus 1. All right. Okay. So now, I make my two sets of parentheses. All right. Okay, and I look to the front of each set. It has to multiply to give us 2x to the 4th. Well, what would multiply to give us 2? 1 and 2. So I'm going to need a 2x squared and a 1x squared. Okay, and if you guys remember, if there's a number right here, we look to this number to decide what goes here and here, but inside and outside are what is going to have to give us the middle number, right? Okay, so what multiplies to give me positive 1? 1 times 1. Very good. All right, so then to check to see what we would want our signs to be, remember we check inside and outside. What's inside going to give me? 1x squared, good. And what would outside give me? 2x squared. And is there any way I could make 1x squared and 2x squared give us negative 3x squared? If they're both negatives. Very good. Okay? All right, so then I check to see if these would factor any further, right? If I was to factor this one further, right, I would put it as 2x and x, right? And then what multiplies to give me 1? What multiplies to give me 1? 1. Okay, so I would check inside, which would give me 1x. I would check outside, which would give me 2x. But is there a middle number right there? No. And is there any way I can make 1 and 2 give me 0? No. So that means this one does not factor further. It's going to stay as it is. Okay? So we would have 2 times this 2x squared minus 1. We said it's going to stay how it is. So now I just need to check this one right here. X squared minus 1. Well, we've already done that one, right? X squared minus 1 will factor into Very good. So there would be my final factors. All right. Good job.